Hello, my name's Charlie Phillips. I work for the marine charity Whale and Dolphin Conservation, or WDC as it's known. Luminar AI, the software that Skylum have developed, is, in my estimation, brilliant. And we've been very grateful that Skylum has sent us some copies of it. And for the work that I do, I photograph dolphins for the charity. And for the work I do, I find it invaluable. It's a very, very powerful tool. And in these days where images are very important, I find it a must-have, really, an absolute must-have. So what I might try and do is I'm going to share my screen with you and go into Luminar AI, and I'll maybe talk you through some of my processes to do a little bit of editing. When I need to do stuff to some images, generally I don't need to do too much, but once or twice you'll find that maybe the light's not quite correct, or something's happened maybe in the exposure. So what I might do, this is a baby dolphin coming to the surface here. What I might do is I might go into the light slider. I'm just going to put my small box over there. And I might just lift the exposure just a tiny bit, not too much. What I might do is I might also go back to enhance. The enhance slider, the accent is brilliant. I love it. And what I might do is I might just put it up to about 30. And that's raised the whole picture. It's wonderful. It's a great slider. It does a lot of things all at the one time. Now, as far as structure goes, I think it's okay. As far as details go, when you go into the details, it's almost like enhancing every single pixel, but you can do it on 3 different levels. You can do large details, medium details, and small details. For this one, I may just increase the magnification up so that I can see what I'm doing to about 100%. That's just about 101. And the tiny details, I think I'll go for some small details first, and we'll raise that up a little bit. And I'll maybe just pull it back down a tiny bit, down to about 9. And medium details, I'll maybe pull that up just a tiny bit. That doesn't look too bad. I'll just zoom back out a little to have a look at that, and that's not too bad. I may go on to just a tiny bit of denoise, a little bit of luminosity denoise. That'll take out any rough edges. And then, now here's one that I love using every now and again, even although it's wildlife that I'm doing. The landscape sliders have a thing called dehaze. Now, dehaze is something that's crept into quite a few photo editors these days. And dehaze is another one that actually just pulls the whole image together. It can enhance the background. It is wonderful for landscapes. But where dolphins and the sea are concerned, it can actually make the picture much clearer. It's almost like a clarity slider. And if we just do a tiny little bit of dehaze, that's just going to tighten that up a little bit. And then if we go back to composition, composition's okay. I don't need to erase anything. The light's fine, and the structure, I'll maybe just give it a tiny little bit of structure, maybe up to about 5 or so. And that'll maybe do that. And then after that, all I need to do is really just size the picture to what I need. What we'll do is we'll just have a little look and show you the difference between that and that. And you see the difference there? It just pulls it up. Sometimes when you're editing photographs, you don't need to be heavy-handed with stuff. You just need to have a fine touch. And that's what I love about Luminar, the AI. It can give you that very, very fine control. Now, here's another photo. This is one that I'm using to show what we use in science to identify individual dolphins. Dolphins are generally identified by their dorsal fins, and the dorsal fins tend to be different shapes and different sizes for each individual animal. And during their lifetimes, they pick up scratches like these two horizontal scratches that this dolphin called Rainbow, who's one of WDC's adoption dolphins up here in Scotland. She has a couple of abrasions there. I think she's actually rubbed against something. This doesn't look like maybe teeth marks from another dolphin, but the little gaps at the back of the fin, those actually have been caused in the past, maybe with some rough and tumble with some other dolphins, maybe some males. But she's also got a little bit of shading. A little bit of shading on the fin here. She's starting to lose some of the pigment in certain areas because she's getting on a bit, Rainbow. She's a lovely old girl. So what we'll maybe do with Rainbow's fin is I'll just zoom back out slightly. And again, I'll go to the magic enhance slider. And I've already had a little look at this just to see. Untouched, the photograph's quite flat. There's not really much life to it. And I can tell who it is. For me, it's actually not too bad. But to just highlight a little bit how accent can help, if you just gently take it up to maybe about 40 or so, then what that does is that very gently and very subtly actually enhances the background, but it also enhances the actual subject of the photo too. Now, if we go to light, light's not too bad. I've already had a little look at the exposure, and I'll maybe take the exposure just up a little bit. I've taken down some of the highlights because what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to accentuate some of the markings. What I might do is I'll show you an extreme version. If we actually take the highlights way up, then what I can do then is I can see some of these marks slightly better, but the background gets a little bit blown out. So I'll just take those highlights back down again. The shadows I've lifted so that I can see these details here. And then go into the details and we'll just give it a light sharpen. Just a tiny sharpen, doesn't need too much. Again, Luminar's great for doing very fine adjustments. And then back to the landscape, and I'm going to just try a little touch of dehaze on there. And that'll just pull that back in. And then if I go and zoom in slightly to about 101%, then that's actually nice. I like that. I can see that a little bit better. The edges are better. I can see the tiny little details. And these little marks have been lifted. The big marks are okay. You can see them quite well, but it's the small marks that I'm actually after here. And that's nice. That's exactly what I'm looking for. And you can see yourself, if I just move the slider backwards and forwards from what was quite a dark picture with not a lot of detail in it, you can see the difference. You can see all the detail actually creeping into the photo now. And for analysis, this is really what I'm after. So that's really what I do. After I've adjusted any pictures, then I'll basically just crop them to size and then store them. I normally shoot in RAW and convert to JPEG. Luminar AI does a wonderful job of doing that. If you want to have a look at the Luminar website, if you go to skylum.com/oceans, that will actually let you know what Skylum have been doing in conjunction with WDC about whales and dolphins and the support, the marvelous support that they're actually giving our work. And also have a look at whales.org as well. So I hope you've enjoyed this brief foray into the marvelous Luminar AI. My name's been Charlie Phillips, and thank you very much indeed for looking.